Welcome back, Sceners. I'm on the phone with Ira George of Movements from Orange County, California. What have you been up to recently?
Not much, man. I just working out a lot, just trying to stay active mentally, physically. It's really hard to feel bad for yourself. I mean, at least for me, I always think about, I'm sure a lot of people have it a lot harder than I do. But I mean, you still can't help but be bummed about the situation. I mean, we can't tour right now. We can't really do anything right now. So, yeah, man, I just try not to think about the future too much. And I've been meditating every day, which has helped me immensely. Just kind of keep that mindset of just like staying in the moment. So yeah, that's helped me a ton, man. It's just meditating. I live by cold showers, ice cold showers. I want to say like I'm close to like over 200 days in a row of like ice cold showers. So
what kind of brought that on? It was just one day you had a cold shower and it's like, oh, that worked, so I'll try that again.
I watched this TV show. I don't remember what it was called, but there's this dude named Wim Hof, and he's known as like the Iceman, and he like takes like ice baths and he does like these breathing techniques. And it kind of just inspired me to just like take a cold shower one day. And it was like the winter here and it was very cold. And it kind of just like changed my life, dude. I know it sounds like crazy, but yeah, like
that sounds hectic.
It just like yeah, it really does, man. Like I legitimately don't think I will ever take a warm shower ever again.
That's a big call. I mean, like,
yeah,
I'm gonna have to look into this dude a bit more.
You should, man. Yeah, like I think the biggest thing for me is just like that feeling you get like in the middle of the afternoon where you just like kind of lethargic and you feel like you're kind of like
ready for bed, but you know you shouldn't be.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I never get that feeling ever, and it has to do with the cold shower. So yeah, man.
All right. Well, I know what I'm doing after this interview.
For sure. Yeah. Well, I shouldn't get too into that, but
onto your new record though. No Good Left to Give.
Cool.
It's your sophomore album. I mean, history of the band has been pretty, I guess, kind of short. You released the EP, and then off the back of that, you got signed, and then the Feel Something, which was, I guess, for me, like being an Australian, I got recommended it from a US friend, and then, after the first spin, I was completely hooked. And since then, I know so many people who absolutely froth you guys. Obviously, the 2018 tour when you came across. Going into recording a second album off the back of something that was so big, and I guess it was anticipated, but was it anticipated that it would be that big?
Yeah, we didn't really know what we were doing. It was, I mean, especially for me, man, I joined the band, when we were putting Outgrown Things out. So, that was something that I wasn't a part of, was that EP. I had nothing to do with that EP. So when I came into Movement, we started touring right away, and, we were writing for Feel Something, and, I felt the need that I needed to kind of emulate what Movements was and elevate it to a certain level. And that's what Feel Something is to me, it's still I still feel like it's my own, and you know what I mean? But with No Get Left to Give, I kind of just had the mindset of just writing whatever the fuck I wanted. So it's very two different mindsets for both records. But no, man, with Feel Something, we had no idea how successful that record would be. We weren't even sure it was good when we did it.
Yeah, wow.
It happened so fast, man. It really did, and it was so crazy. Every tour we would do, we felt us getting bigger. It was wild, man. It really was. Legitimately, every show we would play was just wow. You could really see the growth, which was cool.
You had that social media presence. You were overhyping everything that you were putting out. Had almost a cult following behind it, and I can only see how that has really helped in your favor, obviously, and especially with the new record. It is going to blow so many people's minds. I really liked Santiago Peak and Seneca. Seneca.
Seneca.
So on songs like that, there are, I guess, some early 2000s kind of shoegazy aspects that I noticed through it, and some really leveled textures. Now, is that something that you kind of go into Patrick's lyrics with and think, all right, to kind of help set the mood, I want to add some more aesthetics and kind of atmosphere to it? Or is that something that kind of you and Will mull over later? Because you've worked with Will 2 records with Feel Something.
Yeah.
and now No Good Left to Give. Is there like a kind of an unspoken kind of telepathic link between you now, or like do you kind of just finish off each other's sentences?
There is. Yeah, me and Will are really close, and we work so well together. I mean, we all work very well together, but I think that telepathic thing that you're talking about too is there with Patrick and I as well, because the way Movements writes our songs is we write the majority of everything music first. And we get a majority of that done, and then we kind of give it to Patrick, and Patrick does his thing with it. So it's almost the opposite. It's almost like, Patrick's taking it and meshing his vocals to what the music is. But it just works so well together. It's like this telepathic thing that we have that's just like, we just like know what we're thinking or what the vibe is we're trying to go for. But then again, we add so much in the studio, and that is something that me and Will do together. That we just, we just work so well together. We all do. I mean, it's a very, we all have a hand in each other's instruments and vocals and stuff like that. And we're always, we're all very open. And I think that that's a huge part of it is not being closed-minded, Yeah,
that's really cool. And do you think the not being closed-minded kind of comes from, I guess, necessity of trying to figure out how you want to sound, or do you think that's just because from day one you were good mates, and then the band kind of formed around that kind of friendship between you and Patrick? Like obviously you came into a kind of a pre-established band, but there was, at that same stage there was a big chance that the lineup changes and things like that could have thrown a massive spatter in the works.
Oh, totally, man. Yeah, those dudes are fucking crazy. I mean, we're like brothers now, but like, how it all worked out was just like, I didn't really know them. Like, I tried out, we kind of met each other through the scene, and, I tried out for Movements, and it was just kind of like a match made in heaven. Like, they loved me, and like, a lot of the riffs that I tried out with are on Feel Something, which is like so crazy to think about. I didn't really know them, so it wasn't even like we had this huge friendship before we started writing music together. It's just we all just like clicked so well together, and I think that even more so on No Good Left to Give, that we spent so much time together, and we just knew each other that much better that we were able to tell each other we didn't like something, or tell each other we needed to change something, and just be even more open-minded about what we were writing.
Yeah. Just more maturity, I guess, as a whole too. Like you all have, toured a bunch between the two albums.
Totally. Like, yeah, man. We there was I don't know if you remember, in 2018 we put out this cover of REM and Losing My Religion cover.
Yeah.
That song, that cover changed the game for us, man. It kind of shaped what No Good Left to Give is, honestly. We just kind of discovered like a new sense of like how we wanted to write, and like not be bound to this, one, because I'm the only guitar player, so we felt the need to be bound to only really having one main guitar, and that cover kind of changed things for us, and being like, what, fuck it, like we're just gonna do whatever the fuck we want, and like we'll figure it out, and it just kind of elevated Movements to a different level.
So would you consider REM as being like an influence to Movements prior to doing the cover?
Dude, no, not at all, which is so crazy. At least for me, no. But once we kind of, picked at that song, and because obviously like that song has a lot of meaning to a lot of us, but we felt that it was a song that that we could make sound like Movements, Like that's what we wanted. 100%. We wanted it to just be like a more modern version of the song, pretty much, And man, I connected on that song. That song is one of my favorite songs of all time now. I connect with it on such a deep level, and it had such an influence for me. I think for all of us for this record. But that's kind of where things started to kick off for No Good Left to Give, was when we did that. It just kind of changed the game, and we just kind of took off from there. I think there was a lot of pressure behind this record because of how successful Feel Something was. but the stress of writing No Good Left to Give was less than what Feel Something was, if that makes sense.
Yeah, okay.
Which is so weird. It's so weird. It's so weird. It doesn't really make sense, but I think we just got in such a flow with No Good Left to Give, and we were just pumping songs out. It was crazy.
Talking about one of the first songs that, you know, came off the... Well, actually, let's talk a little bit about the cryptic kind of teaser that came out before Don't Give Up Your Ghost. I caught wind of that because I was in an American merch group, and I saw, there was like a cipher, like you had to crack the code for the new song. Was that like a band idea, or was that all of your ideas, or?
Yeah, it was definitely a collection of all of us to a certain level. I think, you know, one of our managers was just like, because we were talking about, we're just like, damn, like, what's like a cool way to just like, we just didn't want to do something that everyone does. And we were thinking just like, oh, we'll send out like a newsletter or something, or like, we just didn't really want to post about it on the internet. We wanted it to just be something that was a little bit more secretive, and it just turned into this like crazy thing that we were like, oh, let's buy a phone number. Let's try to come up with like some kind of crazy puzzle. Like, let's just do this. And like, it just all kind of came together, and it wound up being like a hit. Like, I think people really loved it.
No, it was really cool watching people.
It was really fucking cool.
Yeah.
You know what it actually stemmed from was we got the shirt design done, and it had this like weird random phone number, and we were like, we should just buy a phone number, and we should put the phone number on the shirt. And then that's kind of where it all stemmed.
That is
and
cool.
We went on
that's
this
really
like, crazy path. Yeah.
Did you get any prank calls? Like, was there a message bank hooked up to the phone number?
You know, unfortunately, there wasn't. I wish there was. Yeah, it's really funny. We had to pay for the minutes on that number, and it wound up actually running out of minutes, and we had no idea. And then I think at some point during that rollout before Don't Give Up Your Ghost came out, I like called the number late at night because I don't know, I just did that, and it wasn't working, and I was freaking out. And then we wound up needed to like put more money in the thing.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty funny. That's funny actually.
Yeah, man.
Good. I've probably got two quick more questions. One really quick one. With the music video, obviously it was animated. Do you have any animated shows that you watch at the moment, or any animated shows that you'd recommend to anyone?
Dude, man, I don't. Honestly, Austin is the anime guy in our band, and he was the one that was like pushing for it super hard. But no, I don't really watch a ton of animated shows.
Futurama, Rick and Morty, South Park, anything OG?
We all love Rick and Morty so much. All love Rick and Morty a lot. Rick and Morty, man. Amazing show.
Hectic.
Yeah.
Justin Roiland's a good dude.
Yeah, man, for sure.
And just quickly on gear and guitars, any new additions to your family of pedals or guitars or amps or anything in the past little while?
Yeah, man. We use so much shit in the studio. Like, we went very hard. Like, we went so hard on like the point of like where like the doubles on each track, because you know you double every track that you do. We used a different amp on each double, and we used like a different guitar on each double, and we went very hard. But yeah, no, there's this pedal called this. It's a Boss Chorus CE2W by Wazacraft. It's like a very instrumental part of this record that we used. We used a ton of old Blood Noise pedals. Yeah, man, we used a ton of shit. I actually wrote it all down, which is really crazy. I wrote every single thing that we used amp, guitar, pedal wise for each individual track.
Are you gonna make that public eventually, or?
I'm trying to figure out my plan for it. I really don't know what I'm gonna do yet. I have some things I'm thinking about, but eventually, yeah, I will for sure.
Hectic. Well, thank you so much for your time today.